Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving into a really powerful framework called the Architect of Career Superpowers. Today, we are going to build a strategic blueprint for transitioning into a successful post-secondary life. Whether you're currently planning your very next big move or you're just looking to pivot, this explainer is going to give you total control over your future.
All right, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the continuous career journey, move into the foundation of self-discovery, explore pathways and finances, then cultivate your career superpowers, build those brands and networks, and finally, prioritize your next steps. Let's get right into it.
Section 1, the continuous career journey, embracing the future.
So, the future of work, it's dynamic and, honestly, it's kind of unpredictable. Get this, nearly 1 in 4 jobs is expected to shift by the year 2030. Just pause and think about that for a second. That means you are highly likely going to be navigating what we call portfolio career paths and probably doing jobs that literally don't even exist yet in sectors we can barely even imagine right now. The stakes are real and the landscape is shifting right beneath our feet. But hey, please don't let that statistic freak you out. Instead, look at this shifting landscape as your ultimate call to adventure. You aren't just going to sit back and react to the future. You're going to architect it yourself with total confidence and purpose. Moving on to Section 2, the foundation of self-discovery, looking inward. Before you even think about facing the external job market, you've got to go on a bit of an internal quest. The absolute most important step here is understanding your core inputs of self-awareness. We're talking about your interests, your skills, your values, and your personality. For example, if you're someone who highly values independence over strict structure, a traditional corporate track might completely burn you out, right? But entrepreneurship, that could be where you absolutely thrive. So it's not just about finding a job, it's about finding a fulfilling fit. And those personal inputs, they are what actually fuel your forward momentum. It's a logical step-by-step process. You go from self-discovery to deep dive research into financial planning, and then finally to network building. Doing this deep internal reflection first gives you the crystal clear clarity you need to confidently tackle those external, actionable steps. You're basically building a rock-solid toolkit from the inside out.
All right, Section 3, exploring pathways and finances, mapping your route.
Okay, so now that you know who you are, it's time to actually navigate the landscape. When you look at the major post-secondary options side by side, one thing becomes incredibly clear. There is absolutely no one-size-fits-all answer. For some people, a university degree is the perfect launchpad. But for others, a trade school or an apprenticeship gets them directly into a high-demand field with incredible momentum. At the end of the day, it is completely about finding the absolute best fit for your unique goals. But of course, every route has a toll booth, right? So how do you pay for it without completely derailing your future? Well, you absolutely must thoroughly understand educational costs and strategically go after financial aid. It's all about making really smart, calculated investments right now so that your educational choices empower you down the road rather than burdening you with stress.
Which brings us to Section 4, cultivating your career's superpowers, your ultimate tools.
In today's super complex world, a basic run-of-the-mill resume just isn't going to cut it anymore. What you actually need are career superpowers. These are those essential, highly durable soft skills. Think adaptability, critical thinking, problem solving, and a real dedication to lifelong learning. You see, technical abilities, like knowing a specific coding language, those can become completely outdated in just a few years. But critical thinking, that literally never expires. Employers value these exact traits so much because they prove you can handle that unpredictable future we were talking about earlier. And by committing to continuously practicing and upgrading these specific superpowers, you're giving yourself a massive advantage. You'll be able to navigate evolving portfolio career paths completely seamlessly. Honestly, no matter how much the global job market shifts or what crazy new technologies pop up, these foundational skills are going to ensure you remain highly relevant and incredibly valuable in any room you step into.
Let's dive into Section 5, building brands and networks, connecting with allies. So we've spent a good chunk of time on the internal side of your blueprint. Now it's time to shift gears and focus on the exterior, how you actually present yourself to the rest of the world. Personal branding is absolutely huge right now. And no, it's not about trying to be a social media influencer. It's really about telling your authentic professional story. When you can clearly articulate who you are, what your values are, and what you're truly passionate about, you naturally start attracting mutually beneficial connections. You want people to know exactly what you stand for before you even walk into the interview room.
So, how do you actually go about building these connections? Well, you can leverage your school counselors and mentors or tap into professional platforms like LinkedIn. You might also want to look into specialized research programs like Polygen's Pathfinders, which actually pair you up directly with expert mentors to build real-world projects. Get out there and actively gain hands-on experience through job shadowing and informational interviews. Seriously, get to know the people who are already doing the careers you want. They have the roadmap, and honestly, most of them are surprisingly willing to share it with you if you just ask.
And finally, Section 6, prioritizing your next steps, an evolving action plan. We've looked inward, we've explored outward, and we've built up a robust toolkit. Now, let's bring the whole shebang together. Hear me clearly on this. It is absolutely okay to reevaluate and adjust your path. In fact, flexibility is your biggest asset here. As you go out and gain real-world experiences, your interests and your values, they might shift, and that's totally fine. Updating your blueprint whenever you need to is just a healthy, normal part of a constantly evolving career journey. To wrap up our main concepts today, I really want to leave you with this empowering quote straight from our source material. It says, "Focus on the process of exploration. Make developmentally appropriate decisions about future education and continuing preparation for life and work." Let's try to move away from all that stress of picking one single rigid outcome for the rest of your life. It's just too much pressure. Instead, prioritize the process of continuous exploration. Keep evaluating your inputs, keep learning, and just keep adapting. Which brings us to one final big question for you. What is the very first step you are going to take today to architect your own career superpowers? Whether it's just taking 10 minutes to sit down and reflect on your core values, or maybe sending a quick message on LinkedIn to ask for an informational interview, the power is entirely in your hands. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. And hey, now it's time to get to work.